Hello and welcome to Where You're Not Entertained. I'm Daniel.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm James.
And today we are covering Chapter 6 of Perry Mason.
Things got good.
Yeah, they're heating up quick.
Yeah. I was saying last episode that, or last, I guess, review, whatever we want to call it, that if we didn't get at least 2 episodes of courtroom drama, that I was going to be sorely disappointed. And I was very glad to see that in the, I guess, third to last episode, we got to see some of it. And there's still the discovery and there's still like the mystery and the revelation that comes outside of the courtroom. But we started off in the courtroom. So there's at least that. And so what I expect from a Perry Mason television show is becoming a little bit more real than it has been for the first 5 episodes.
Yeah, it's falling into the proper pace of what you would expect from, I guess, kind of the original Perry Mason TV show. This episode was starting off in the courtroom. Obviously, the next episode is going to be the same way because we've done prosecution. Now we need to do defense. I'm assuming that that's going to go into the final episode. I would probably say at least half before they, kind of do a wrap up of, the bad guys go to jail and the good guys get to commiserate about everything that they had to do in order to survive this trial.
Yeah, and I think this one was a lot of fact-finding. So this is a lot of getting the pieces that will come in handy later, but they haven't been utilized. And it's a lot of watching them get absolutely eviscerated in court.
Yeah.
So we're digging a huge big hole for Perry Mason. And now we've got 1 to 2 more episodes for him to claw his way back out of and triumphantly win this case.
Yeah. Right. I think this is kind of the quintessential story of somebody with a ton of talent, but at the same time, not a ton of experience. Everything's on the line. Somebody's life is on the line. And it's a matter of shaking off the inexperience, I guess is the best way to put it, and coming into their own. And we got to see some of that today. I like the fact that there was the jitters, or whatever you want to call them, the shakes. And he had to take a glass of water, and his stumble towards his own desk to get water, and then trying to overcome it, and just the lack of comfort there was in not knowing what to do, being overcome with anxiety.
Yeah, we'll just call that a big choke at the very beginning. That was just straight up choke.
It was, but that was wonderful, because we've seen him be very competent in his investigative capabilities. But when he has to get up and actually present in front of the jury with somebody's life on the line, as he says a couple times throughout this episode, and with the entire audience aware and being judged by the literal judge, there's that kind of extra layer of formality and extra layer of stress and pressure that it was nice to see him kind of fail at first, not because I want to see him fail, but because it will make it that much better when he starts to find his stride.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and he's got, you've got a new set of rules to play with. Being in a courtroom is very different from being a private investigator. And so you can kind of bend rules to your needs as a private investigator. But once you're in the courtroom and you're an attorney defending someone, you have to be very specific about even how you say things.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think that was a really cool piece too, to see the mistakes that he makes, because it's much more believable that he would come at this and come out swinging as a first-time lawyer, and he's going to make those mistakes and get objections and sort of go about questions in the wrong way.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm glad for a rocky start.
Yeah.
He's going to have that Legally Blonde moment, and he's going to find his footing and figure it out.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm kind of waiting for about this time when we get into the second half, because I have some theories on this and I'd like to put them down so that we can see how horribly wrong I am by the end of it. But we've started to see some of the pieces come together, and I've started to get some ideas as to what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, well, and we've kind of been right so far, lightly, you know.
Yeah,
we don't know details or anything like that, but knowing that the church is involved in other ways. You know, Sister Alice is not like the only part of the church that's actually involved in this entire case. We're learning more about that.
Yeah, I think Sister Crazy Pants has a much more positive involvement.
Speaking of
than anyone else.
Sister Alice, was there some serious tension between her and Perry early in the episode? Was that just me?
I don't know that it was serious tension.
Okay.
I think that
I don't mean negative. I mean, like, there seemed to be something going on between the two of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
I might have missed that.
I didn't miss it. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but I'm not sure if that's going to be anything.
I just want to know what's going to happen with the baby.
Well, we will find out.
What is she going to dig up, and like what's going to happen?
I did really like that Paul Drake is now kind of shifting from beat cop to helping Perry.
Right, and we got the indication that was going to happen before with the last episode.
Well, and he's Paul Drake, so
that too. But yeah, I mean, we got the indication last episode that there was an absolute need to do the right thing, and I love the way that it played out in this episode. I mean, Chris Chalk killed it. He was my favorite of the entire episode. I think that he is the tie that binds and gave this episode the heart that it needed. And man, I was so happy with everything that worked out in this. The way that he almost compromised his morals to fight a corrupt system. Like, don't get me wrong, I dislike compromising morals as a whole, but it was one of those things that it felt like after making a mistake, it was the only way to make it right, which I hate in principle, but in the show, it worked beautifully. And I felt like it was accurate to all the different characters that were in there. Yeah,
well, I mean, he wasn't sticking to his morals in the first place, so he wasn't really compromising anything at all.
I mean, fair enough.
He lied about one thing. Him lying about another thing is just kind of what he's already done.
Well, yeah, but it's also like he's in a position where he doesn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, even with this level of compromising morals, he still rightfully needed to put his pregnant wife on a bus to go see her aunt or whoever it was. I think he said his aunt or her aunt.
Yeah.
But, his life is in danger for just going up against the other, who was it? Ennis and Holcomb.
Well, yeah, because it's not just them. It's all the other corrupt cops.
Right. I mean, he got paid off for towing the party line.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so gross.
Something that he did. Yeah, he wasn't told that he was going to get paid for doing that. They just, here's your hush money, basically.
Your kickback, yeah.
Yeah. Which, like he said, kind of gave him a disgusting feeling.
Rightfully so. I mean, it's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And speaking of Holcomb and Innes, we did at least find that Holcomb was not in on everything the same way Innes is. Holcomb is he's a corrupt cop.
Mm-hmm.
But
Clearly. I don't want to know who. I don't want them dead.
Well, yeah, but it was so I was curious when we first found out about, paying off the guy to be put on the case. I was curious if it was both of them that were involved, because we've only seen one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We know Innes is the bad guy, quote unquote.
Right.
Yeah. No, and I also definitely towards the end I really liked Perry's whole, I guess, conversation, we'll call it that, with EB.
Yes.
His breakdown.
Oh, that was that was really great.
His EB impression, his best EB impression.
Oh, as soon as he said boyo, it's like, oh, we're gonna go hard.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. As hard as facing that is, and at the same time, the pressure and the shoes that Perry feels like he has to fill, man, that was a meaningful scene for me.
Yeah, and especially because nobody else has the background of why EB did what he did.
Right.
They don't know the sacrifices that he has made for Emily Dodson or for the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where Perry is kind of trying to put himself in EB's shoes to find the correct way to handle being in court.
Yeah. And that's what a good role model does.
Yeah, exactly. His mentor is gone.
And that's how it works, is your mentors leave or they die or what happens. And you're the one trying to live up to the legacy more than the person themselves. Yeah. If you know them well and you work with them a long time, then there's always that juxtaposition between the legacy and the idealism that you have about them, and the others do too, and then the real them that you, maybe being close to them, have recognized. So I don't know. I definitely got that.
Yeah.
I think when we get his departure from trying to exactly fit EB's shoes is when Perry's going to find his stride and his own way of doing things.
100%. When he stops trying to be EB and starts trying to be Perry, that night when he's ranting to Bella.
Yeah.
Yes.
That Perry, when that Perry gets up on the stand, we're going to see a sea change.
Yes.
Yeah. As long as he can not mince words and say it in the right way.
Right. And I think that impassionment that he had in that, in the kitchen is going to be something that we get to see on stand, and it's going to change minds.
Absolutely. Yep. Good. It was a good episode.
Yes. I'm very excited. And by the way, who the hell is Jim Hicks?
Yeah. Well, we're about to find out. He's tied up. He's tied up in the deal somehow.
Yeah.
Right. I think that it is by the way, I did promise predictions.
Yeah.
I do want to throw out there, I think that Herman Baggerly and God, I can't remember his name, Solaris or something like that. The church minister who came into the accounting room.
Yeah.
And
I think that was Solaris.
Yeah. Said, what are you doing to Perry and Della?
Yep.
That guy and I think Baggerly were working together on some land deal, and that they kind of tied their son in with it, Dodson.
Yeah.
And that they realized that God, who's the guy who that George Gannon was stealing from the church itself, and with them, it was the perfect way to cover up two crimes, because it was a mismanagement of the church and the allowance of having somebody embezzle money, and then the land deal that was going south at the same time. And that Jim Hicks is kind of the, as I said before, the tie that binds, that connects Baggerly and Solaris. I'm sure I've got his name wrong, and somebody will make sure to correct us. But
no, I think that's right.
That there's that kind of larger power play at hand.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence. I'm undecided about how everything is actually going to come together.
Fair enough. I didn't convince you.
Well,
here's my theory. I'm still on the fence.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Well, because I'm wondering if they're actually using, like, the checks that they're sending are kind of a payoff for dirty deeds, as opposed to it was him doing something and they caught him, and it's an easy way to basically cover up everything.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think that it is to make George Gannon the scapegoat for all of the dirty deeds that are happening in the back room of the church, because all of the different investments that they have and how many of those can go wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's part of the reason why Sister Alice has been, portrayed as such a sympathetic character, is because there's the heart of the church, and then there's the more
the people that are
capitalistic portion of the the leeches, the hangers on.
Yeah.
Those who are trying to profit from the church instead of
and I think that's going to tie into her mother some as well.
Yes.
I think that's going to come around.
Yeah.
Exactly. This episode alluded to that.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, we have covered this episode more than any other episode so far. So was there anything else that we wanted to touch on before we before we ended it up?
Nope.
No.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Please join us next time when we cover episode 7, the penultimate episode.
Yep.
And please go online, like, and subscribe, and join us next time on Were You Not Entertained?